I invite the Honorable President, Press Club Kolkata, the man behind the show, and without whom we couldn't have even thought of, hosting this. So I have the extreme pleasure of inviting my teacher and distinguished journalist, distinguished media educator, and so many other adjectives that we can use for sir. It's over to you, sir, for the valedictory welcome address.
Thank you very much, Dr. Pandey. It is really a great pleasure and privilege for me to thank all the participants at the outset and the resource persons, and Ms. Sucharita Bordhan, the communication specialist of Unicef. Not only that she is the communication specialist of the Unicef West Bengal office, but a person whom I know as committed and passionate for development communication. That is why this team and Dr. Pandey, obviously, we would like to thank Professor Bera. If he is not here, he will be joining in a couple of minutes from now. And Manali ma'am is here, I believe. Ma'am, I also thank you, Dr. Manali Bhattacharya. Yes, ma'am, welcome. Actually, my dear friends, some of you might have had my class this morning, and then at the end of the day, again, you have to see me. But let me welcome you and let me encourage you and thank you for participating in this course, as we believe nothing happens without the participation of those for whom the program is meant for, and it was meant for you. See, this present program of development communication is meant for three kinds of people who are extremely important in the communication process of development. One, the faculties. The honorable faculty members of various universities and colleges of West Bengal primarily and outside West Bengal have kindly joined in a similarly but in a different type of 3-day long faculty development and faculty workshop, which took place first, because we believe that if faculties are refreshed and sensitized and they're busy, if some inputs can be readily made available to them, it has got a multiplier effect that they take them out to their students, and they are the catalysts, so the change agents. So obviously they were our top priorities. And let me also share with you that this project, which has started in various states, incidentally wherever Sucharita ma'am was there, has a component of curriculum development on development journalism. The curriculum has been fixed, and we would like to float it to various universities and colleges teaching post-graduation. They may take it in full, they may take it in parts, and it is a total curriculum with booklets and other references, and up to date with the priorities given to the modern concepts of development communication. Maybe in the institutions with whom we are partnering today will have this experimented in full or in parts. Next was the journalist training workshops, which we had one in Purulia for the journalist of western part of the state, and then the next is going to take place in Shantiniketan, which is again St. Xavier's University, Kolkata's outreach center, Poroshmoni, where the journalists from Birbhum and nearby district of Murshidabad will take part. And the next, the third one will be in South Bengal. I'm sorry, in North Bengal, in Shiliguri, where the Shiliguri journalists will be sensitized. Now, this issue is really serious to us. Apart from covering politics, cricket, cinema, incidents, events, there must be a space for people, human development, which we call development. Development journalism is not new. It has progressed. I think Professor Bera will touch upon that. I know he is also a proponent of development communication, development journalism, development communication, communication for development, all these various categories of this various genres of the area to communicate on development, to sensitize people. And we give stress on the journalism students who are future scribes future media educators, future IEC person, that information, education, communication component person, who will be working with the NGOs and social sectors. And even they go for advertising, they will be creating social advertisements and public relations, information. Anywhere they go, this social communication play a vital role, including within which development communication is there. The primary concern for this kind of a project is just to sensitize them, bring them that what we understand by development, what we understand by development communication, and how to find space and how to look at development from a reporter's perspective, and how to highlight the issues of development. Maybe it is highlighted by the government or by the social sector, by NGOs, anybody, development agencies. But how does one journalist see it and interpret it in a holistic manner where people are in the center, people-centric reporting of development? That is exactly we are trying. Today, what has been disseminated, we believe that the results will generate maybe one day or the other. But it will be at the back of your mind. Whenever you work something, all these will come forward. This we believe, and that is why this is being planned. I'm grateful that the University of Calcutta has joined the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication. We are delighted to have Professor Dr. Bera, Soumendranath Bera, who is better known as both. He himself, as I said, is a proponent of development journalism, development communication. He has written several essays, papers, and some specialization in the area. I don't know, sir is here, or he said he will be joining in a couple of minutes from now. I'm grateful to Professor Dr. Manali Bhattacharya, the head of the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication of St. Xavier's University, Kolkata. Ma'am has been heading the department since its inception and trying to give this additional inputs to the students. And we know that during COVID, the inputs were not proper as it could be given. But nevertheless, at least this facility could be created. And we believe that somewhere in the world, somebody is arranging its resources. You all are giving time, including the resource persons, university professors, and all those who are involved in it. So with the resources on the time given to this should generate some result. I'm grateful to the University of Calcutta, Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, one of the oldest departments in our country and one of the newest and state-of-the-art training facility, state-of-the-art media school, St. Xavier's University, Kolkata, for partnering with us. We have had other partners. We are partnering with universities, private universities, state universities, central universities throughout the state. And without your support, we could have not been able to target and reach out to your students. And I think this additional input will be of some use some days to come. And I thank Dr. Bhattacharya and Professor Bera, and obviously Ms. Sucharita Bordun, communication specialist of UNICEF Office West Bengal, and the chief of UNICEF Office, Mohammed Mainuddin, who was there in the inaugural session. And I cannot thank enough Dr. Uma Shankar Pandey, who has taken this pain of making this happen. And I also thank all the resource persons, because they are nationally important and they could give time. So this repository could be created. This will be there in the YouTube, and everything will be shared. You will be given a certificate. The institutions will also be given acknowledgement of what has happened with the international presence of Unicef and Press Club Kolkata being the oldest press club in the entire subcontinent. And Press Club Kolkata is mandated to, upgrade the standard of journalism. And we do not want to exclude anyone. We include academics, we include professionals, we include students. That is how we are here. Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for your introductory address, and we hope to have Professor Dr. Soumendranath Bera join us at some point of time. He was there, and we know he's traveling, and we're extremely thankful to him for all his support. As I said, we are his first batch at the University of Calcutta, 96-98 batch. So we have some special, kind of fondness for sir, and he always makes it a point to listen to our requests. And he was traveling, but he did join us, and because of some technical glitch, he had to leave. So I'm sure we are working on getting him back again. One of our colleagues will try and contact him, and either Debayon or Manushree will contact Professor Bera, because I'll invite him immediately after Dr. Manali Bhattacharya speaks next. So I'm absolutely delighted to welcome Dr. Manali Bhattacharya, who's the head department of mass communication, St. Xavier's University, Kolkata, for all her support and for standing by us for this particular program, because we wanted your university in the first workshop itself, but for obvious reasons, because the convocation was going on, we could get her there, and then this has actually fructified. So she specializes in communication theory and marketing communication and communication research as well, with more than 15 years of experience in teaching in both UG and PG students. She is one of the most accomplished student of one of the most accomplished teachers of her generation, and she is also PhD supervisor under St. Xavier's University. She has published a number of research papers and book chapters in reputed journals and books. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us for this valedictory session. So we look forward to hearing from you.
Very good evening to all the respected guests present here. Good evening, Sayashi sir. Good evening, Uma Shankar sir, and good evening, Shucharita ma'am. It's really an honor and privilege for me to be here as a part of this program. I'm really happy to be able to speak with such an interested group of students. I can see some of my master students present here. Some of them are from first year, some of them are from second year. I'm sure this 3-day workshop has enlightened them and have updated their knowledge on development journalism. As Saw was saying, that development journalism is becoming very, very important and relevant these days, along with other things like entertainment journalism, political journalisms and all. You will be happy to know, sir, that there are many students who are really interested to work for development communication and journalism. And they're also working to make an audiovisual project based on development communication. They are working on the nearby villages of St. Xavier's University to gather information, which they will be converting into an audiovisual thing. And I'm sure this workshop has given them more knowledge and have updated them a lot. And I think along with St. Xavier's University students, there are also Calcutta University students. So I somehow feel very connected with that, because that's also my alma mater. I also studied masters from that college, from that university rather. So I expected sir to be here, but I think as USP sir was telling that Anjan sir is having some network problem. I'm sure he will also join us in some time. I was going to the topic that sir shared with me. All the topics were very relevant, and it's really very important that the students must have knowledge about them. And knowledge is something that needs to be updated regularly. So something which you are studying today seriously will become irrelevant after 1 year. The way the technology is moving and the way we are moving, I don't know whether we this COVID era or not, the new normal has making things irrelevant faster. With the development of digital media, new media, things are developing very fast. So you all need to update yourself regularly. So please do attend this kind of workshops. It will always update your knowledge, because the people who are conducting the workshop, they are regularly working on the field. They can actually give them proper updates about what are the things happening there. So I sincerely request Press Club and UNICEF to organize this kind of webinars regularly. And so since we are again slowly and gradually going back to the normal mode, so if we can organize offline sessions on this, then I think the students will be they will actually get more knowledge about it, because any day physical information kind of contacts and offline things are more important. Sir, good evening. So my deepest gratitude goes to all the organizers, Snehashi sir, USP sir, and Shucharita ma'am, for organizing such a wonderful webinar. I was discussing with some of my students today only in the campus, and they said they are learning a lot, and they have learned a lot. Especially they were talking about data journalism, fact checking, and all. So how the sessions were interesting and everything. I believe that every student who have attended this webinar has gained a lot, and we look forward for more associations like this, so where we can develop more sessions and workshop like that. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Manali, for your support, and we look forward to working with you in all our future ventures. So as I was suggesting, I am the first batch student of Professor S.N. Bera, and we have, as I said, a special place where we can request sir for such odd things like speaking when he's traveling. So thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Over to you for the valedictory.
Uma Shankar, am I audible?
Yes. Perfectly audible.
Thank you.
Perfectly.
Thank you. Thanks to all of you, especially UNESCO West Bengal Committee, Madam Shucharita Pradhan. Thank you, Uma Shankar. Thank you, Snehashi, the President, Calcutta Press Club. And special thanks for organizing this workshop on particularly development journalism. And for our involvement, our collaboration. This is I think good opportunity for our students and also all the students from St. Xavier's, Manali. I was listening to her comments, and practically you see this is why this is a good opportunity, because the involvement of the press club and experts you involve, particularly as professional journalists and teachers from eminent teachers from other universities also, and they are all very serious and experts on this particular subject. And UNESCO experience, particularly development journalism, is so vast an area, and it is a developing concept as such. I would just like to refer to the report of the Second Press Commission. It was in 1982. The Second Press Commission report was submitted. It's an old one, in fact. But it covered the various nuances of development journalism and how important it is in a country like ours. It was discussed in detail, in fact. And I think that's a very good reference. And practically, when I was a student of the University of Calcutta in mid-1980s, at that time, development communication, I'd say development journalism was the term. Now we use the term development communication. There is a subtle difference also. The subject was introduced as a special paper, I can remember. But the subject developed so much, in fact. Nora Quabral's books and articles were very popular at that time. Development journalism is not government say-so journalism. I can still remember. Yeah. Development journalism is not government say-so journalism. So it is very much responsibility of the independent press, in fact. And if we can refer to, Professor Amartya Sen's, what is development, in fact? Development and freedom. It's a very awesome, very interesting concept, I think. It's enhanced our freedom. It's strengthened our freedom, in fact. Development is, not just a government-sponsored project. Sometimes it is wrongly interpreted. It is something a people-centered at the core. activity. So role of the people, role of the citizens is at the center of development communication or development journalism. So it is the responsibility of the free press and independent media to cover, in fact, from the development activities or development projects of the very, concept of development sometimes from the perspective of the citizens, the so-called beneficiaries. Beneficiaries is the official term often used in the government documents. But personally, I don't like the term beneficiaries as if the government is benevolent government. No, it is the responsibility of the government. So from the people's perspective, that is all about the role of independent journalism development, covering developmental issues or items, in fact. So for the students of journalism and mass communication in particular, so learning it from the scholars, academicians, as well as from the professionals on development journalism. I can still remember a comment by one of my teachers. The development you see in a society like ours. What is development? In fact, the desirable change, if you can say it, in both in material and non-material senses. I can still remember. So development is the most sensational thing, What is and newsworthy in that sense, a newsworthy item, because it is all about change. It is all about transformation in people's lives. So the most important thing, I think, that the participation of the people, in fact, one of the major indices of development is not just changes, that has been done for the people. No, it is the participation of the people. It is the involvement of the people at all levels. At the time of, designing the project, at the time of implementation of the project, and at the time of assessment of the projects. Particularly at this, the three levels, involvement of the people is more important. So how can free press, how can independent media can contribute to development process? And that is definitely a sensational thing, in a sense, obviously. So I think the workshop, I'm sorry that I could not participate in the working sessions. It was, very much preoccupied, but I am sure all such items, all such areas have been covered extensively, and my students are definitely benefited. So thank you very much. And the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication of the University of Calcutta, we are always eager to collaborate with the Press Club and organizations like UNESCO and similar other organizations, and university departments in organizing such academic projects. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your support and encouragement, and for such, so nicely putting together, development and journalism and communication in such a short lecture. I can see my other teacher raising his hand, so over to you, sir.
No, and it's 9:30 almost, past 9:30. I'll take 10 seconds to personally thank Professor S.N. Bera, Professor Anjan Bera, because his presence gives a different dimension. We know that his commitment and passion for development and development journalism also. This is a specialized area, and before you came, sir, I was just telling them that the chronology of development journalism, development communication, communication for development, we have been hearing this, and those are the days when we were students, this concept started coming, and it has become what it is today. Sir, your presence gave us a different dimension. I thought that if I do not personally thank you on behalf of the press club and on my personal capacity, I'd be failing in my duty. Thank you very much, sir.
And I mean, we must listen from, I know that Mr. Sunita Vardhan has spoken already today, but I would, want to have concluding thoughts from her, because we know the passion she has for this, and that is visible from the fact that this is probably the only Unicef office which does things like this. And this happened when she was in Rajasthan, when she was in Assam and other places. So this is more of a personal initiative that makes programs like this series on development journalism that we're having for students, for teachers, and for practitioners as well. So I would request Ms. Sucharita Bardhan, Communication Specialist, Unicef Office for West Bengal, and someone with a very deep academic insight into her. And I said that I keep saying to her that, if you just write whatever you're saying, that would make for a very good academic paper. And I've been talking about that in front of Snehashi sir and Manali ma'am and others. So they would agree that, we've had these discussions earlier. So over to you, Sucharita ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Pandey. I actually was tempted to come back because Professor Soumendranath Bera is here. Sir will not recall, but when he was the board member of Rupkala Kendro, I was working for Rupkala Kendro at that point of time. So it is a personal delight for me to see you here and listen to you. And also Dr. Manali Bhattacharya, we have interacted with you earlier on another series that we had done, and I think that was very enriching. I wanted to come back, USP, for one particular thing that Sir Bera mentioned, and I can't thank him enough, is to talk about people and not about government-centric news. And this is something you will recall in the last Purulia workshop that we had. This is exactly what I had said, that just don't get the press release of the government or UNICEF or a corporate body printed and published in the newspaper. Please use it to find out the story about how these reach people and talk about people's news, people's stories. And that is something that sounds easy, but when we want to make it palatable, when we want to make it interesting but evidence-based and appealing, then there are all these things that we have actually included in the workshop, the 3-day workshop. And I'm very happy that Dr. Manali also mentioned that all the topics that we actually finalized were thought through very well before we presented to you. So we wanted a combination of the theory as well as the skills, so that all the students, despite using us using this virtual platform, would benefit. And I absolutely second the request for an offline workshop where we can actually look at a workshop more, to look at the different kind of pedagogy which we have tried out elsewhere, in both in Assam and in Rajasthan. And I'm certain that the students will benefit from it. And this is what we would like to look at when we talk about news of people. We want those voices to be heard. And I know that I'm kind of a little too optimistic when I say that I'm referring to mainstream media here, but I still will advocate, and I still want that space in mainstream media for 70% of the population that don't get reported. And this will be my personal journey, and everywhere I go, I will try to advocate for it. And with that, because UNICEF's mandate is to work for children and women and communities and vulnerable populations and equity, I will definitely try to talk about that as well. But having said that, I think it is extremely enlightening for us also as organizers to be able to have this kind of students, both from the University of Calcutta as well as St. Xavier's University. And I can't thank their authorities enough for actually agreeing to it, because you know that this would not have been successful if we did not have the support of both the universities here. So thank you very much, all the students, for that patient listening to all of us through the 3 days. And I can't thank enough both Dr. Manali Bhattacharya and my personal thank you, Professor Bera, for meeting you after a long while. And I'm actually very delighted to have you here. But I would also like to thank Mr. Snehashish Shur, our very own Snehashish Da, without whom we would not have been able to bring this collaboration to you. I mean, only UNICEF wanting to work would not have worked at all. And therefore, my personal regards and thanks always to Snehashish Da, and we like to call him that fondly. And definitely to Dr. Umashankar Pandey, who we call USP, who has been the USP behind this entire program, pulling it along all the 3 days across batches, both here as well as for the journalists program and faculty development program workshop. Thank you very much. And it's been a very enriching experience for me personally also to listen in and also see the reactions from others. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bardhan. I mean, I have the pleasant task of now just thanking everyone for your support. The students would have received the feedback link on your chat box, and you just need to submit that link. Everyone who's been present for 3 days will get a certificate, hopefully by tonight, if and latest by tomorrow morning. There have been a lot of people, involved with the project. All of us have, thanked them enough. A lot of people from Press Club Kolkata, the office staff, Mr. Pankaj Das, Mr. Nitendra Jordar, Mr. Vikas De, and others. The Assistant Secretary, Mr. Nitai Malakar, the Treasurer, Mr. Orijit Dopto, the Secretary, Mr. Kingshuk Pramanik, and of course the President is a part of this show himself. Two very important people working behind the scenes, making sure that everything works glitch-free, Mr. Devan Bhaduri and Ms. Manushri Maiti. All the participating institutions, in particular, as I said, my teacher, Professor Bera, and my esteemed colleague, Dr. Manali Bhattacharya. As I said, this wouldn't have happened if Ms. Sucharita Bardhan did not have this vision and passion for development journalism. So we keep thanking her, and there are a lot of things which started because of these Unicef programs. So the data journalism that we are seeing is because it was propelled by these kind of programs. There are 2 or 3 very important things that we'll continue talking about. One is storytelling, because we have to make it interesting. We cannot assume that we have something important to say and people are willing to just lap it up. We have to fight out for their attention in the best possible way. And we'll try continue doing that. We spoke about how you can add the right kind of emotions there, or even try to bring in the right kind of associations there. These conversations will continue in different formats, and we are happy that we have people like Monidita Banerjee joining us in this. I'm tempted to use a Hindi word that we learned in Rajasthan. Probably don't get the right English word would be mission, but we used to call it it's Muhim. That's a kind of a mission that we are in together, and we share the same vision as we would say. So thank you, sir. Thank you, dear colleagues. Thank you, Mr. Charita Bardhan. By sirs, I mean both Professor Bera and President Press Club, Mr. Snyasi Sur. So till we meet again, have a great time, and we'll be back with, I'm sure, another series very soon. And we have the 3rd series of students workshop beginning on 1st April. And some of you, your friends who might not have joined, you're free to join us for the next series if possible. Although it's for a different set of universities, but if anyone who has not been able to join here and you want to join us, you can do that. So with your permission, with the permission of the valedictory speaker, Professor Bera, and President Mr. Snyasi, I end this valedictory session. Thank you so much. So we'll meet again.